All right, hello, hello, hello. This is Ross Vertel, fifth reader on the forums, and I'm here with Tribbles extraordinaire Maggie Geppert, and we're going to do a bit of a preview as best we can for how Tribbles will be at Worlds. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so I've done a bit of research looking at these. There seem to be a couple ways to go. The first is to just take take a power and build your deck around it. Johannes has a good deck based on Utilize. Brian S has one that just has five different triple powers, one of which is Go. And then there's one from last year's Worlds, which seems to be based around Ba, Kapla, and Replicate. I can bring that
mm,
up on the screen. Um,
sure.
what what are your thoughts on building a deck around one power and just augmenting it?
That's there's some pretty good stuff out there that you can do with that. One of the more degenerate decks that has rolled in the last couple of years is Control, Reset, and Shift. So Control is the power that came out in the most recent set that you get a benefit for how many shift and resets you have in your play pile at the end of the round, even if you don't. Oh, hey, everybody say hi to my familiar. This is Toast.
Hey,
Uh,
Toast.
she's trying to dig into the bed.
Ah,
Um, And the control power, basically there's reset. You can do reset, shift, and control at all of the denominations. So you could build a deck exclusively with those three powers. And so you can, and control, you don't have to go out to make use of control. Um, Whenever it's just triggers on being in your play pile at the end of a round, and you get 10,000 points for each of those. So that particular deck and is can be pretty degenerate. When you play it with troubles, it gets really crazy because you can score it also scores you the um, number of points on the miss power on a trouble. So that can get pretty crazy sometimes.
yeah, so the one non-high level winning deck I have is this one from Michael Van Bremen. It's called Scoring Without the Score. It's Generosity, Laughter, Mirror, Poison, and Utilize. So this is a 600 card deck, which you're probably not bringing to a non-online event. But you could probably use these ratios in a little lower ratio. And this deck is all based on getting points and not going out.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That can be a risky deck sometimes because you get stuck. You don't go out very often. Um, I mean, you can, but it doesn't go out as often. You're really, really, really gambling on being able to score big points on a poison or a utilize and getting, or laughter, getting those laughters and generosities working for you. So it's hard. I mean, it's a good deck for sure. Um, but it does have some weakness because you get stuck if especially if you're in like a six-person pod, you'll often get stuck on trying to play the same denomination and the um so so if you're stuck on 1,000 or 10,000, that can get real frustrating real fast, and your hand can blow up quite a bit on playing a deck like this.
Okay. And then I also found a bunch of decks that weren't not specifically tied to a triple power, but just had a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes they have a lot of goes just to increase the chances of playing their next power. Um, and then there's also the triples of a different color, which is based. is a whole strategy based around just having different powers in play.
Yeah, so you can IDIC works with those kinds of decks, and if you're playing with Validate, the new Tribble that boosts up IDIC, you want to try to get as many different, you want to try to assimilate as many different powers as possible if you're playing a Validate deck. So IDIC and Validate and Assimilate all work together very nicely.
Right. Um, any other trends you'd recommend, or at least want to mention to watch out for at the big event coming up in a few days?
Um, uh, Battle is always
Oh yeah,
a,
battle. We you mentioned that ahead of time. Sorry, I forgot.
yeah. Oh no, that's fine. Oh, I was answering that straight for the benefit of our viewers.
Yeah,
Battle decks are always a threat. You can, but again, they're very risky because you have to have lots of 100,000s in your deck. So battle players don't go out often, but they go out big. So a lot of the newer powers that have come out recently, control, organize, validate, and all benefit from having very long rounds where where it takes a long time for anybody to go out because the more cards you have in your pile, the better a chances that you're going to get benefits from validate and control. And battle's kind of in the similar vein. You like having long rounds in battle as long as you can get yourself out. So
right.
that battle can is always a threat for sure.
Okay. And um, you mentioned that if you're looking for a easy to play deck, you just go with clone copy.
Yeah, like I always keep a copy of my all clone deck around for a brand new player. It has 100, 10,000, and 100,000 in it because those are all of the powers that have clone. This is the deck my daughter took to the top table back in 2021. No, 2022, excuse me. She took to the top table in 2022 in Florida. So it's all clone, and so it's a very easy deck for a new player. It was actually the very first deck I ever built was this particular deck because you never have to worry about the power, you just get the flow of the game to start.
Right. And the 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, those aren't bad denominations to have around. So you
Well,
have,
and yeah, and since you're playing clone, you don't have to have a 10. You can play a 1 clone in reverse. And you don't have to have 1,000, you play 100 clone and skip.
yeah,
So
cool,
you always have something you can play.
cool. Um, any other advice or good to wrap up?
Just come if you've never played Tribbles, come on out and play. I'll lend you a deck. You'll probably win Worlds. That's the very first Tribbles tournament I ever played in. I won with a borrowed deck. Um, we can ask Dan Hammond how many times he's lent people decks at Gen Con and then had his butt handed to him. Like that's just the way Tribbles work. So if you've never played Tribbles before, come on out. We're playing. I only have games scheduled for Tribbles on for Worlds on Saturday night. But if anybody wants to do a pickup game of Tribbles any other time, if we all get if people if like second edition players want to play some Tribbles on Friday night while first edition is wrapping up, happy to do that. If people want to do a pickup game after after we do the Trek Barnes's, so that's Boromir of Bor, his Proto Warp format on Sunday. If we want to do some Tribbles after that, while second edition day 2 is wrapping up, or I'm happy to lend out decks. I got a bunch of them printed. We're good to go.
Cool. All right. Thanks. Sounds like a lot of fun, and best of luck to everyone at Worlds with Triples.
Yeah, thanks for the having the little interview here. I got to go pick up our first guest. this executioner himself has landed.
Cool. On that note, take care and thanks.